Okay, so guys, this morning we have a Samsung Galaxy A12, and the device came in for a bad LCD. So let me just pull up the device. As you can see, there are lines on the LCD. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to remove the LCD and show you the process I would use to replace this phone screen, or generally a phone screen. And this process applies to some of the E-series phones. Starts by removing all the screws from the base, and this bottom piece houses the speaker, module, charging port, network, and audio jack, I guess, since this phone has one. So this would be the shield, speaker, charging port, network cable. Most of the network controls are done here as well, and the mic for when you on a call. So this cable will be part of the screen, and then I'm going to remove the top cover, and then you'll get to see the main motherboard of the phone. I'm taking out the screws, and phones are basically phones are basically four components. You got a battery, which should be a non-removable battery, but when the battery needs to be changed, I can remove it, or most other technicians can remove it. And then you have the motherboard. This is the motherboard that encompasses the cameras, the air speaker, the secondary mic for WhatsApp was also done here. So this mic would cover the WhatsApp, only WhatsApp. Vibrator, network cable that connects the bottom to the motherboard. Volume buttons. The power button for this phone is on a ribbon that encompasses the fingerprint reader. So pull the battery, and this is a A12 A127. So there's A127, A125. So just going to disconnect the screen cable. For this process, I have two options. I can use the LCD itself, or I can use an LCD that comes with a pre-installed frame. So before I do any phone, or before I work on any phone, this is what I generally do. Because once I install the screen, or whichever screen I choose to install, it's going to be nearly impossible for me to remove the screen without messing up the bonding agent or the glue. So I'm going to just pull the screen out. I'm going to take the LCD, and this is what the LCD looks like. Main cable, charging port, backlight, and the various capacitors and resistors that makes the LCD work. So I'm going to test this. So I'm going to plug on the LCD. For this, I do not need the charging port accessory enabled, so I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn the phone on. LCD plugged in. Just reset this cable. This is the space. This will be a snug fit. Put this in. Try putting the phone on again. And there we go. So I assume that when my fingernails are a bit eaten down, it got chipped on a previous phone, so that's why the phone didn't power. So let me remove the light so you can see clearly. And as you notice, there's no lines on this phone. What I would do, I would install the customer's screen just for the purpose of this video. I'd bond the screen to this frame rather than having to change the whole subframe and install everything from the beginning. I probably cover that in another video. Right, so here, so the person doesn't have a password on the phone. So I'll shut the phone down. And I would remove the LCD. And mind you, I'm doing this by one hand from my smartphone. Right, remove the power button. Disconnect the battery. Since I disconnected the necessary cables, what I would do now is I would put this, since I need to get the LCD out, let me show you what I would do. So this phone is going to go on this machine here, and this machine is going to heat the phone. It's set to about 120 degrees. So it's going to heat up the phone. Let me see the temperature. Right, so it's about 120. So, and it's already on, so it's going to heat the phone. And what is that? That is going to weaken some of the glue that is holding the phone to the frame, screen to the frame. All right, so I have two options here. This is what I use to bond the screens to the frame. Now I can use a clear one, the black one. I tend to use the clear one when I'm sealing for those phones where the back needs to come off. That is stuck by adhesive. I will use a clear one so that it's less of a mess. And I tend to use the black ones inside when doing the screen. Now there's two ways you can do the screen. You need to remove this little camera cover here, make sure that no dust gets onto the lens, the lip glass. So you can put a layer of glue around here. Be careful when doing this, and that would glue the screen, and you can glue the screen this way. I usually do this. Now, thicker, because it's a lot hot outside, put in a thicker layer of glue, or what I'm doing here, ensure that I get maximum coverage rather than having the thin area to cover. Now understand, there are sometimes on some phones when you put the screen and there are lights attached to, you're going to see the light protruding to the ends of the LCD. In that case, I would just glue both areas. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be removing the screen, finding a soft spot, a sweet spot to remove the screen. So I'll use this, and I would probably guide it somewhere on the edge here, run it, and I would try to get it somewhere in here. And let me give this some more heat and I'll come back and show you guys the process. Again, I don't think it's hot enough. Alright guys, so yes. So I'm back. Let's try this. You wanna get this. And there we go. See this? And that is because the glue is weakening in some areas. Let me get it all the way across. And I told you, well, most likely at some point in time this phone screen would have been raising up on one of the ends, and the technician would have dumped some glue, or someone would have used probably super glue to glue around the edges here. The rest of it is pure factory seal. So this is the old LCD that's out, and this would be the, I would have to click, see, this is someone that I use super glue to glue this thing. And many phones should not be glued with super glue, Yoo-hoo. These things are not recommended to glue phone screens, and to even put to glue phone parts. And it's a good reason why I didn't put any adhesive. Wasn't planning to put adhesive on the edge because it'd have been a nightmare to glue, to get the adhesive to stick on this corner here. So and then the proximity sensor is here. If glue gets into here, when you make a call, the screen generally goes dark. When you remove the phone from your, it lights up. This is the sensor that affects that creates that aesthetic for you. And if that sensor is blocked up, then once you dial a number, the screen stays black constantly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put a stronger layer of glue right at the edge here. Camera, there's the sensor. Okay, and I'm only putting this because the phone, somebody would have put some other glue in there that would have kind of created a contamination to the whole process and would make it probably difficult to bond the screen. So I'll put the screen in. Okay, LCD cable. This would be for the charging module. I think I'm coming up with the cord a little bit, and make sure the network antenna is in its place. I'm curious to see the condition of the motherboard when it comes to the area where they glued, and it's because I'm going to check this because I don't want the customer to say after I change the screen they have this issue popping up. So at some point in time, someone would have removed the proximity sensor. It should be here. Let me get my hands on another board. So here, proximity sensor would be here. So it's either it was removed or this model didn't come with the proximity sensor that fits through the little holes here. So I'm gonna put this back in, put in the grounding screw, and this screw is important because it grounds the motherboard to the chassis as well as hold it in place. Okay, and the LCD cable, I need to get it to go back in its place. And it's going to be difficult to do this until my fingernails get back to where they need to be. Having fingernails is sort of important as a technician doing doing phones. So here, I'm going to put this in. We want to see if we get any sounds of power on the screen. Alright. And what I'm basically going to do now is just be putting back in all the components together. Now, this charging port is dirty, and yeah, it's dirty, and it has evidence of being wet, but still works, so I do not need to tamper with it. Now, in the future, I'll make another video showing you guys for A12s, changing the ports, changing the whole module at the bottom board, or changing the port itself, that I would have to use a microscope, Patagon, soldering station, a couple other stuff. So this is me screwing the phone back, and then I'll put all the components back in the correct place, and I would strap the phone down with some rubber bands to hold the screen firm to the chassis or the frame while it, so it's 2, 4, 6, 7 screws. Do the same thing for here, 2, 4, 6 screws. So I'm going to put some rubber bands at different points to keep everything in its place. So let me put some screws back here. I'll show you guys how it looks after. Alright, so this is all the screws back in the phone. The last thing to do is put the power button, fingerprint reader module, and seal the phone. And you want to be very careful the amount of pressure you put, because you don't want to nick, crack, or damage the LCD. This is the phone. And take out the adaptive brightness. Okay. And I'm going to put some rubber bands and put one here just to keep enough tension. And I'm going to put one, I'm going to just inspect the bottom, and I'll put one just here because there are some capacitors ICs at the bottom, which I don't want to put the rubber band too close to pressure squeeze or nick. And this would be enough. I'm going to inspect the phone visually. Let me just take out the light here. I'm going to inspect the phone visually to make sure that this piece is okay. The top. Alright. And lastly, I am just going to snare rest the phone on the charger. And it's charging. Just want to double check here. I'm going to walk the rubber band down a bit. And that is the process I would use to replace a Samsung screen. And this is the Samsung Galaxy A12 or the A127 M12 A12 phone. So thank you guys for viewing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.